Tickets go on sale for the podcast show, the latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. Delegate Day passes have just gone on sale for the podcast show 2022, coming to London in May. May the 25th to the 26th promises an international festival with a number of inspirational speakers, including Jen Sargent, the CEO of Blubrry. Additionally, right through the week of May the 23rd to the 29th, you'll be able to watch your favourite shows live on stage in a number of different venues. You can get your day passes today. Use promo code Podnews for 20% off for limited number of day passes. We're a media partner. A new Blubrry podcast statistics interface will be launched next week. CEO Todd Cochran calls it something spectacular. Media Monitors has released its US PodRank data showing top podcasts and publishers for 2 weeks in December. The company puts Joe Rogan as number one, suggests that comedy is the top category, and says iHeart is number one for podcasting. Now, Media Monitors is owned by iHeart, but the data is similar to Podtrack's December data for participating publishers. Facebook appears to have rolled out audio rooms across the world. We link today to an example from Paul Spain. All rooms auto-record and post to your profile unless you don't want that. They work on iOS, Android and the web. We still don't see podcasts internationally though from Facebook. A podcast has turned into its own radio station in the UK.
This is the Alfred Daily 8 o'clock edition.
Libsyn hosted the Alfred Daily, a 40-minute daily local news show. It's now being broadcast on 107.3 FM across Shaftesbury in Dorset. The podcast and station is staffed by volunteers using Hindenburg. The podcast has been doing 1,000 downloads a day, but the area it covers is just 12,000 people. In the Netherlands, the podcast Top 2021 was published, the result of more than 2,500 votes from Dutch podcast listeners. While 91% of the country speaks English, the first English-language podcast in the list was at 108. Podin is a new podcast transcript service. Joe Moe is the founder and looking for feedback. You've heard of Wordle. Podchaser has released Poddle, which uses podcast art instead. Romantic comedy Meet Cute and independent TV studio Whip are now a couple. The two companies will hold hands skipping and jumping will work on a television show based on the Meet Cute podcast. Dylan Buckley, a former AFL footballer and now podcast host, has launched Producey, a podcast production house and, quote, content and amplification business in Richmond in Melbourne in Australia. The longest-running podcast from the BBC in our time has been catalogued using the Dewey Decimal Classification System by Stuart Ian Burns, a fan of the show. And do you have a short audio fiction podcast already produced as a single episode? Do you want to make sure it's heard? Jazzy May Media is on the hunt for short produced works as part of their own comedy and drama called Muriel. And in podcast news, When I Met You is new from Meet Cute, unique, true love stories that'll take you to the moment people fell in love. With 6-minute episodes told as a dialogue between two people, listeners will get a quick dose of dopamines. And that's the latest from our newsletter. For all the links, we're at podnews.net.